Do you know, I'm not really sure even how to feel right now. I mean, there was lots of optimism and positivity coming away from that second half and reason for encouragement. However, this was a Manchester City team, a brilliant Manchester City team, by the way, that was missing a number of key players, and Aston Villa were once again very wasteful in possession, especially in the first half, and they looked confused in transition. And that has been a recurring theme throughout this season, no matter who's been in the dugout leading the charges. So for this game, I needed something sweet and satisfying. I needed a jolt of energy. You're not going to believe what I'm pouring as the house cocktail. It's amaretto and Dr. Pepper. This drink is deadly, let me tell you. You'll be up all night if you get into these, but I'm ready for it as we dissect Aston Villa 1, Manchester City 2. And so Steven Gerrard fails in his attempt to become the first Aston Villa manager in history to win his first 3 games in charge. But I am very encouraged by his post-match verdict, which was very honest, and he didn't give it the old, well, we kept the defending champions within a goal and we gave it the old college try, etc., etc. No, he was rather irritated with the first half and the fact that Aston Villa stood off, it seemed, for 15 minutes. And conversely, he was extremely proud of the second half, as he should have been. But the most important thing now is to clean up some of those details, learn from this defeat, and get ready for Sunday, because Leicester at home now feels like a very winnable game, and they will have to take what they saw in the first half of that game and learn from it and fix it and park the Wednesday night result as fast as possible. All right, let's go. It's the Holy Trinity, the 3 big issues or moments that defined Aston Villa 1, Manchester City 2, and we'll start with the stats. And oh, doesn't that look nice? A little something different for the festive season now that we're into December. Villa Park in the snow back in the day. Look at the old Trinity Road stand. It's absolutely magnificent. And I have some of the usual suspects in the stats breakdown. Overall, yes, Man City had the better expected goals average, but in the second half, after that stirring halftime team talk, I'm sure, Villa had the better of it. Look at Manchester City's attempted versus successful tackles. They don't need to tackle. They have the ball the whole game. Everybody else is chasing and harrying. Now, the duels won at the bottom, very nice. 53-1 by Villa, 40 by City. I should mention that Emi Buendia lost 4 duels all by himself, so almost 10% of that total. Honorable mention number 1 was the 1-0 goal, which was eerily similar to Declan Rice's goal for West Ham, the 2-0 goal several weeks ago at Villa Park. If you're going to allow a player that much time and space to tee one up, even if it's a central defender from that far out, and by the way, Ruben Diaz is a brilliant, brilliant player. But still, if you give him that much time, you're asking for trouble. And the first thing that was irritating about it is that Leon Bailey did not identify the danger and get out there and close him down fast enough, similar to the Declan Rice goal. And then it looked like Matt Targett kind of ducked out of the way, didn't he? And it's easy for me to sit here and say, well, Targett, get your face in front of that and block it. But when you're not blocking it full on and you're ducking out of it or glancing at it, it makes it harder for the goalkeeper, who will always say, if you're not going to block it, get out of the way, because the worst thing is a slight deflection. Now, before the shot was even taken, it was interesting that Raheem Sterling on the left-hand side found himself in a 1v1 with John McGinn. And I've been saying over the last several weeks that Aston Villa under Gerrard have been very good about being patient, not diving in, not being sold on little moves. Well, Matt Cash was tucked infield, and he was very good against Sterling all game. But on this occasion, it was Sterling versus McGinn. Sterling gives him the shake and bake, gets past him to the byline, and then hooks the ball back. And the frustrating thing is this goal comes at 27 minutes. Villa had been bending and bending and bending without breaking, and if they could have just hung on for 5 minutes more, get to that psychological half-hour mark, they might have been okay in this game. But goals change games, and that was a big one, and Aston Villa have not been very good over the last several seasons at playing from behind. Honorable mention number 2, what a performance from Oliver Watkins. Aston Villa's true number 9 looks rejuvenated under Steven Gerrard. His back-to-goal hold-up play was different level. His goal was sublimely taken. His first touch was good, and that's on top of the 9 duels he won, 3 aerial duels won, 3 fouls drawn, and he won 2 of 3 tackles. What Watkins needs is consistent and reliable players on either side or just behind him in those 2-10 roles. Leon Bailey's going to be out for a while. Emi Buendia showed flashes here and there, but there will be moments he will look back on, and so will we. Did Carney Chukwuemeka maybe get himself in that frame while Leon Bailey recovers from his latest injury? This is a big question because it's an issue. Watkins is the perfect player under this system. He needs to have consistent and reliable performers to run with him. Big issue or moment number 3, Chuck's chance. Oh my goodness, and what a chance it was, and what would that have been like had he buried that in front of the whole tent? I mean, my goodness, there's any number of ways of looking at this, and I want to say the encouraging and the exciting part of this opportunity here was the fact that Carney Chukwuemeka recognized the opportunity, the space in behind, and made the correct run at the right time. And what a ball from Emi Buendia while falling. That's why Aston Villa signed Buendia. And we see these little glimpses. We just need to see them more consistently from the Argentine. And Steven Gerrard said it as much after the game. The exciting part about this player, he recognized that moment, made the right run. Now, should he have scored, or was it a great save? First of all, Ederson, I mean, this guy stands and watches 95% of his games. And then all of a sudden he comes up with a magnificent save or a big clearance, or he's a sweeper keeper. Or how about those sidewinder punts he lays out, like the one he did in the 22nd minute that was on a dime, about a 70-yard ball. Chukwuemeka will have tossed and turned all Wednesday night after that chance, because when you see it from several angles, yeah, he probably could have picked a corner, but he will learn from that. And let's take the glass half full approach from a player who some are saying, well, he wants out of Aston Villa. His camp is saying, we never said that. And by the way, if he's not getting first team minutes at Aston Villa, he ain't getting them in the top 6 either. But maybe he'll learn from this. Maybe it'll humble him a little bit to work harder. And let's just see, because he's perfect for one of those 2 number 10 roles, isn't he? Big issue number 2. The wrong pass. Oh my goodness. This happened time and time again in this game, particularly in the first half, and I'm going to sound like a broken record. Aston Villa finally beats the press, keeping in mind it's hard enough to get the ball from Manchester City. When you finally do, you've got to make the most of it. So they finally beat the suffocating press out of the back. Somebody makes a good first touch in midfield, and now Aston Villa is on the break. They're breaking away. They're in transition. What we thought the team was built for, and it fizzles. And the key culprits, especially in that first half, were Buendia, Bailey, and Matt Cash. 9th minute it started, in fact. And it was the exact circumstance. Ball played out of the back to beat the press. Buendia makes a great first touch by winning an aerial battle, I believe it was. He gets the ball back on a 1-2, and now he's driving forward with Bailey on his left, Watkins on his right. And he just didn't know what to do with it. And he played a telegraph ball to his left that was easily cut out. It didn't make it to Leon Bailey, but that was just the first of many. And what's so strange about it is when you look at the profile and the attributes of the players that Aston Villa brought in and how they were thinking about becoming a good team in transition, you would think that this wouldn't be a problem. And yet it's been an issue all season. And given that Aaron Danks is in the technical staff and that his specialty, and I believe the reason why he was brought to Aston Villa, was front third possession play and also transition-oriented attacking play, it's weird that we see this so often, and I believe in my heart of hearts, it's coming. And in that 9th minute Emi Buendia example, the key for flummoxing and confusing defenders and creating chaos is by trying to create 2v1 scenarios whenever and wherever possible. This is a straight 3v3 counter, Buendia on the ball, Bailey to his left, Watkins to the far right, and the 3-man City defenders. And in order to create the confusion at some point, either one of those two players off the ball have to make a very good run, an overlap, an underlap, whatever that may be. But easier still to create the 2v1 is Buendia's got to isolate a defender and drive towards that defender and either combine with Bailey, or he could play the split ball for the oncoming Watkins, or the ball to his left for Bailey. And he did none of those. He telegraphed the ball to his left and it was easily cut out. But the biggest thing about those moments is you must recognize them immediately, and it has to be automatic. You can't think about it. And that's going to come down to the work on the training pitch. And I believe once Aston Villa tidies this part of the game up, they will be very, very effective in transition with the personnel they have. 22nd minute now, almost the identical scenario to Buendia's. This time it was Leon Bailey, and he had one earlier too, where he tried to carry the ball through midfield on the break. He got tackled, and luckily he was given the foul, but he had Matt Cash wide open to his right. If he plays that ball early, Villa are away down the right. And this was frustrating from Leon Bailey. He's trying to do too much right now on his own. Perfect example. Beats the press, gets the ball, breaks away. He's got Buendia to his left, Watkins to his right. And he has Emi Buendia in the perfect place to slip through. And I'm convinced had he done it, Buendia would have either been on goal or he would have played it back across goal for maybe Watkins at the back post. And he does it. He tries to make a move. He gets tackled. Villa get possession back briefly, but then lose it. And not long after, Manchester City took the lead. But it was so frustrating to see the same problem happening again and again. And just a minute later, this is the 23rd minute, I believe, Villa earn a recovery, which is a transitional moment. That was Matty Cash winning a duel against Raheem Sterling. He plays a great infield ball, gets the one-touch pass back, and now he's charging forward. And for some reason, he decides to play an early driven ball whipped in towards, I don't know who. It was almost a switch ball. It was that far away. And he did have a 2v1 situation. He had Buendia on his left and he had Nathan Ake in a 2v1. This is the exact situation I was talking about, a 2v1. There's Cash. He's got a teammate to his left and Ake coming over. If he plays just a simple little ball in behind the Man City defender, he's got a teammate running into this space. And that ball there then causes all sorts of problems because Cash can go infield and underlap, or he could carry on and overlap. Maybe they create another 2v1 with the recovering defender from Man City, but he does neither. He pings the ball in with pace to who I don't know. And the number one big issue or moment that defined Aston Villa 1, Manchester City 2 was the Bagel 2 goal, which was, in fact, the game-winning goal. But at the time that it was scored, it was also like an uppercut to the jaw. And it really could have been dealt with in the Manchester City penalty area, if you recall what happened. Riyad Mahrez was under pressure from Douglas Luiz and Emi Buendia. Neither really committed fully to the press. And afterwards, Steven Gerrard said, well, we need to take a foul there. We need to be clever there. We need to realize we are completely unbalanced at that moment. And they didn't, but still take nothing away from Riyad Mahrez. It's a world-class ball to get out of that jam to Fernandinho. And what does he do? He plays a world-class ball into the channel, identifying that Villa is out to sea defensively. And then, yeah, it's probably another world-class ball on a dime to Bernardo Silva, who says, well, I've got all the time in the world here, but I'm just going to hit it first time anyway and smash it into the roof of the goal. Dusted at that point, we all thought. I mean, at the time of the game, and 2 Bagel. And that's where Villa just need to be more clever. They have to stop those issues at the source when they know that they're unbalanced behind them. Take a foul, stop it somehow, but take nothing away from the brilliance and the devastatingly ruthless manner of that counterattack. I've not seen something like that in a very, very long time. Lots of positives to take away. Heck, Aston Villa won the second half. The problem is they lost the game in the first half, and that is what they're going to have to learn when they reflect upon this game and prepare for Leicester City. Also, nice to see some very good performances from players we haven't seen in quite some time, like Douglas Luiz, who I thought was excellent. He had a bit of bite, had a bit of class and skill. It was nice to know that Morgan Sanson is a real person and not a figment of our imaginations or an enigma wrapped inside a rumor, because he's going to be central to the squad depth. And there's been a lot made about his Champions League pedigree. And especially now that there'll be no Leon Bailey again for the foreseeable, no Bertrand Traore, we knew that, and maybe no Matt Targett for maybe the short term. So is this a chance for some of the kids to step in? And I'm thinking of Jaden Philogene-Bidace. There are 7 games between now and January 2nd, which is the transfer window, of course, and Steven Gerrard's been told you can bolster your squad during that window. I'm really curious to see if he will dip into the academy and at least bolster the bench a little bit, but I'm dying to see more from the kids. Why not? And despite the loss, there were actually some improvements in our updatable points tally. The record at Villa Park doesn't look the greatest right now, as they've only taken 10 from a possible 21 points. But they did get another goal from Watkins, upping the total between he and Ings to 7 this year, and it was a goal off a set piece. So Austin McPhee gets the credit, and now at 5-4 and 5 against, they're back to 0 on the ledger. That was a bona fide top 6 side from which they've taken 3 of 12 points. Leicester drew at Southampton this week. It's been a very unfoxes-like season for Brendan Rodgers and company, so they'll be gassed up and ready to go on Sunday. And of course, Steven Gerrard's men, well, they'll want to bounce back as fast as possible. And this is a very winnable game in my books, and they're going to need those 3 points, because up next after that is the trip to Anfield and the circus that will surround Gerrard and his return to Liverpool. Until that time, be well and up the mighty Villa.